Hello, once again. You are welcome to our Excel video tutorial. Today, what we want to look at is how to split our data, different forms of data that we want to split. We're just going to look at how to split them. Okay, so we'll be splitting every data here and be putting it in the cells that we want to put them in. So let's quickly look at that. So we have name, phone, street address, city, and then zip code. So we want to split this data and learn how to be able to split a data easily. In splitting a data, what you first must do is, where am I splitting the data to? The destination of your new data. So you can create the destination for your new data and you can now do the splitting. So for instance, if I'm splitting the names, I can choose to split the names right in front of this data, or I can even come and put it in the column E. So in case I want the splitting of the names to come right after the names that I have, it means I need to create new columns for the splitting the data I want to split. You see, in Excel, when you want to create a column, you put the mouse pointer on the column header. It turns into an arrow pointing down. So the column headers are the titles A, B, C, D, E. So because I want my splitting to occupy the space for B, where B is occupying, I need to create a new column so that the columns in B will push forward to C, and those in C will push forward to D, those in D will push forward to E. So I right-click on top of it, and a menu will appear, and I click on Insert. As soon as I do that, because I'm inserting a new column, that new column cannot give me a new title. It will give me B, but push the items that were in B into C. So I can go for first name. And now, because I want to split it into two names, first and last name, I now have to come and right-click on C. That is our new column. And right-click and select Insert again. Then I get another new column, and I can type last name here. So now that I've created where I want my splitting to be, I can start with the splitting process. What we must notice is that anytime I want to split, I must tell Excel, what do I want to split? In splitting the data, what do? You must select the data that you want to split. You must decide in advance the destination you want your data to go to. So this is the data I want to select, I want to split. So I can now highlight the data to the last one. I clicked, dragged over it, and let me just scroll back to the top. You see, when I want Excel to split the data, I didn't select the part called name because I don't want Excel to split the data in A1. So I selected from A2. From here, we go to the data tab. It's the data. So we go to the data tab. From the data tab, we can go to data tools and go to text to column. I want to transfer text to column, a column. We know what columns are. Columns are vertical. And then columns, as we know, are vertical. And the title columns are A, B, C, D, and whatever you can call. So these are our columns. So we just go to text to columns. So text to columns to do that. So as we said, columns are vertical in nature and then rows are horizontal. The difference between a column and a row is that a column is vertical and a row is horizontal. And when they meet, they form a cell. Okay, so don't forget I've selected my text that I'm going to split already. Then I come to text to columns and click on that. It gives me a dialog box. This is where I'm going to do all my work. So let me click on the title of the dialog box and drag it. So it's step 1 of 3. I'm in the first step. So here I just go to the next. So from here it asks me, what is the delimiter here? Delimiter means any weakness that I can find in a cell that will help me to split it. In this particular cell, Garrett and Serrano, there is a space in between, so I can just check the space. And once I do that, the preview shows that I have actually split the cell already in advance. It's left with a few things I have to do. So from here, I go to next. This is where I choose destination for where I want the cell to be. That's called the absolute referencing. So I click the destination and delete whatever destination it gave me. That's not the destination I want. So I go and choose on first name B2 as my destination, my absolute referencing. You can see in the preview, it highlights the first names for me. It has highlighted the first names for me. So from this point, what we do is to now click on finished, because that is the last process after selecting the destination. So we click on finished. Then it asks us, there is a data here. Do you want to replace it? Yes, of course. Then we go for OK. Then it does the splitting beautifully for us. So it is actually a simple thing. Let's go ahead. Now the next data in column D, we want to split that one as well. So let's now select, let's create where we want to split it into. In this case, let's come in front of the data, which is E, and right click on the E so we can insert an empty space there. We want to split it into two. So we need two columns inserted. So I've created two columns. So I can just call this, this is the first part of the number. So I can just go for N and go for L. Okay, so I just want to title whatever it is I'm going to split. Okay, so I can even go for code. So let's say when the first part of the thing there is code, and this one will be number. Okay, let me put it this way. Okay, so now this is the data I want to split. So let me highlight it. So you see, it deals with highlighting the data. Sorry, my highlighting didn't work. Let me come back and highlight again. So I'm highlighting the text. Okay, so it's highlighted well now. Let me come back and then continue my process. In splitting, I need to go to Data tab and come to Text to Columns. I want to show you the various things. So this is it, delimiter. Go to Next. What is the common delimiter here? If you look at my data critically, the code, which is in bracket, is separated with a space from the other numbers behind it. So I have into bracket 721. There is a space here before the other one comes. So it means I want to split this data using the space. So space is already checked for me. Then let's go to next. Okay. Now at this point, let me now choose my destination by clicking here and go and click on code as my first instance. Then go to finish. Okay. So this didn't work because you can see that for me, I was separating with the space. It means that the space, somebody will say, is an artificial space. It doesn't really, when I double click on the data, you realize that that space doesn't exist. Let me go for undo. It's not a big fight. Undo whatever it is I did. And my data is still selected. Now let's look at another way. Text to column. Delimiter. I go to next. This time around, let me rather use the comma. It is not a comma, but it's not a semicolon, it's a dash, right? Let's try and find out. It says others. Okay, so let me put the dash in the others. See, it says others because it is not a semicolon that is there. It is not a comma. The space didn't work because it's artificial space, it's not correct space. And I'm now going for dash. So let's see what dash will do for me. If the dash is indeed a correct data we can work with. Okay, let's go to next. And I believe this might not also work because the dash, as we see, is probably artificial as well. So let me go and click on finish. And let's see. It still didn't split this data for me because there's an error here. So for this particular data, let's forget about it. Let's forget about it and rather split a data that we can easily split. Okay, let's look at this one. It's quite interesting. Okay, so if we want to split this data, we can see that almost all of them, by studying it, has spaces. Most of this data has about 3 spaces. And it might appear as a space. Let me be very sure. Okay, there's a space there. There's a space here. So it means that for this data, if you want to split it, we might have to split it into 3 because the spaces will give us 3. So this time around, let's insert an empty cell here, empty columns. Okay, so let me just minimize, let me just make it closer so it will be easier for us to see what it is that we are doing. Okay, so let's insert 3. So the first one is, let's say A. Let's make this one B. We are just giving it any title at random so that we could finish it quickly. Okay, now let me select the text that I want to, as you know, split. So let me highlight the text. Highlight all the text. Okay, now we go to the data tab, text to column. Okay, good. Then we go to the delimiter. So this time around, the delimiter we want is not other, but we want to do the space. So even so, you realize that this document, when we selected space, gave us how many divisions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It means it wants 6 lines before it can do that. Let's go for another delimiter and see. Let me see, comma. Comma will give me 2 splitting. Some will not get any splitting at all. Let me go for others. So others too will give me 2 splittings. Let me go for semicolon. So obviously, this data, splitting this data is possible. So we can decide to go for a comma. Space will give us 5. We don't want space. Others will give us only this one. So let's now rather settle on comma for the separation of this data. It means that any of them that does not have a comma will not be separated. It's as simple as that. Okay, so let's go for next. Let's choose our destination by deleting the old destination and click on where we want the item to be. Let me go over it again. We delete the old destination, go back to the cell and select where we want the destination to be and click on finish. So once it asks us that question, it gave us 2 divisions, even 3 in some cases, especially where the commas are 3. So make sure you have seen whatever it is as the delimiter. I think this is going to help us better. If we are asked to split this data, city and zip code, this would be easier because this one, and city and state zip code. Okay, this one will be easier because this one we can see clearly the document is separated by a comma. So let's highlight the text. Highlight the text. First thing to do is to highlight the text. The cities are separated with a comma and a zip code. So you can see the city, comma, and then a zip code. So this is going to be an easier document to split. So we go to text to columns. After selecting the text, we go to next. Then here is where we want our delimiter to be. Because we're working on the data already, comma is already selected. So let's click on comma. You can see our document is well split into 2. The city and then the zip code. So from here, all that you have to do is to go to next, to go and choose the destination. As I come to next, where they have destination, click in there and delete the destination that you have and go to where you want the items to start from. Always remember, let's choose the first item. The one at the left is what we are working with. The rest will split into it. So let's select where we want the first item to be. As I click on it, it will insert that destination and the destination that we have here. Then all that we have to do is click on finish. And as we click on finish, it splits the document into 2 separate columns. So once you just have to open your eye and find out what is the delimiter. Is it a space? Is it a comma? Is it a full stop? In case it's a full stop, what you have to know is that if it's a full stop, you have to come to others and put a full stop there in the column. Come to others and put a full stop there. So you click on others to check the box. Then you put the full stop in that box because that is your delimiter. And once you do that, you'll be able to split the data successfully. Thank you very much for being with us once again. Subscribe to the channel as we continue to give you more exciting videos and how to answer few questions on Excel in case you want to go to your theoretical area to answer some theoretical questions in Excel. Even by watching this video, I know you have understood that in splitting the data, What is important is the delimiter. The delimiter is any weakness in the data that will help you to split the data into the columns that you want it to be. And in splitting the data, we go for text to columns as well. And one thing you must also note is that in splitting the data, select the data you want to split. Choose the destination you want your data to be. And from that point, splitting the data is an easy thing. Thank you very much. Meet you again in another video. Bye.